door because I think you'll hear a consistent fan. It's not a room fan or a quiet fan or whatever. It's actually my PBX in this room. All these Avaya phones. I'm working on a video where I am. So this is interesting. I worked on this project last week trying to get all these phones to wire up. And I did. I have a 24 port circuit board that I did. And ironically, as I was finishing recording for the phones, 6408, my eBay listing, someone bid or bought it or whatever, I forget. I only made $11. The shipping and stuff was more of the cost. So now I'm down to 4 phones. I still have, what was it, 21 minus 4 gets me to 17 of different types. So that's what this noise is. The noise doesn't bother me that much. It's actually a good buffer. I've had it for 10 years, believe it or not. It was 10 years on March 7th when it came to me. And there's a link on it on the website. The blog. I just gotta put everything back online. I did tell the story how I didn't tell my mother about the PBX for a year. Honestly, it was yeah. That was a story in itself. But like I said, I'll make it a note in the comments or the the description, whatever the hell you call it. Here's one of the 6408s. I broke the microphone on this guy, so I gotta solder the microphone. I forgot where I put it. It's somewhere in my pile of broken phones that I broke because I tend to take things apart and not put things back together. That's the story of my life. So I gotta get that fixed and stuff. I went on a Savers run the other day, so I have a bunch of new stuff that I just purged, and there was like telephony stuff. One of them's right in front of me. This Mountain Bell branded cheapo Chinese phone. I haven't tested it or what. These trim phones, so the ones that were made after divestiture, are like crap. Well, most of them had really crappy, cheesy styles. Even to like the internals, I do like that. Even though AT&T did outsource the consumer phones after divestiture, at least they're decent in quality. Even you can even go to like, I believe, a Target and get the Model 210. The AT&T was still making that particular model up until recently. They might have stopped making them, but you could still find. I mean, even for that cheap stuff phone, because it's obviously not the same. Like it's up on my it's up there. You know, I'll show it to you when I get back up. So I mean, it's like a subject. I mean, I'm all for old fashioned stuff, but I'm not gonna get all snooty on my audience like things and stuff like that. So, alrighty, this has been a long. Oops, I'm moving the stand as along with. Is center stage working? Oh, center stage is not working. Oh, now it's working. Okay, so it's been a long 5 days. Well, could be worse, but I am. I would have written this on the blog if the blog wasn't getting attacked or being scraped. But good news, I tested the last post, and I will be slowly republishing the content. So, alright. You guys know what happened with my family member, right? I've talked about it in a video about a couple months ago, would be actually January was when I ranted about it, so it's now longer than that. I've I am I've written about it, and so you know that this family member has been at a psych facility for over a year. Everyone was like hot potato, and you know the whole story, right? So, or at least if you know, you can look up in the archives. The cast of characters in this story is the clinical directors. I'm going to call the person the manager, and then his support people is the counselors. And so I went with my mother last week for a meeting because they called for a meeting on all hands. It literally was an all hands meeting because the chief operating officer was on the call. And so the way we come in because the office is for the mental health agency, and it's like we're kind of like on different wings of the building. We come in, and his worker was coming in. She badged us in. We were initially buzzing at the door to get in because it's a secure facility. We go in, but we're waiting to get buzzed in, and then it turned out that the case worker came in and went in. So kind of, we go in, and we're waiting at the second door. There's two doors, and there's just a lot of people coming and going, and and it was really surreal because we never been through badged and their employee before. We always had to wait for a clearance from and so things weren't feeling right. Anyhow, we were supposed to have this meeting. We don't know where the meeting was supposed to be scheduled in, but we go downstairs to the big conference room, and the big case person goes back upstairs because it was like downstairs. We go down a flight of stairs. We get down there. My mother on our phones checking for an email, so we were kind of preoccupied. We didn't know what was going on. And so the meeting started late. It was a 2:00 meeting because they were trying to also get the teams to work on the computer. They were trying to get it on the big projection screen. They couldn't get the thing to work. But little would we know what was going on. And so they started off the meeting saying that my family member eloped from the facility for at least a half hour. He was checked in at 1 o'clock, but at 1:30 he wasn't there. And so they're searching all over the building, all over the unit, all over the building, and it just it had to be the longest 20 to 40 minutes of him looking for him. They did find him like about maybe 1:45 just as we were coming in. We were going in through Manch Vegas. The irony of the signs, I guess, what was telling us something was up. We get there actually at 1:43, and then we get out at like 1:45, and little will we know what was going on. So that's what the manager was saying on the call. And there is things are getting expedited, and he's the voucher for him to have to live in a memory care unit or something like that. Um, is getting closer, hopefully. So that was the gist of that meeting, and we were there for like another 2 hours because the counselor, we waited for her to come, and she mentioned we were her therapist, and what really upset her was that she wanted to have a debrief with the first shift, because the inside line is that the first shift is not to be trusted because there's no one that has any dual training. And so she's talking to the people using the phrase "we" statically. She didn't say I or we, but she's like, we need to do better. We need to take accountability. We can't let this happen again. The manager didn't like her assertiveness. She must have had like an angry look on her face, but she didn't yell. She was just in the moment, and she kind of got punished for it. And the level of dismissing was another thing between the manager and some other people, particularly on the big meeting with the COO was in this call where she said something to the effect he's a slow walker. I don't know if that's a good justification for someone to escape a psychiatric facility, even though he has dementia, early stage dementia. And so the level of the manager, and from what I knew at the time, the there wasn't like an incident report or something like critical. That was like they were very blasé to document what happened. There's surveillance video. There's cameras all over the place, so they knew, because we found out today that how he got out. But it happened on a Friday afternoon at like 1 o'clock. Oh my God, I gotta leave. I thought when you work in a facility, whether it's the psychiatric or the general mental health support, if there's a crisis, there should be all hands on deck, including the IT people, because they had to go look at the surveillance footage. They needed to get IT approval, and it was after 5 o'clock on a Friday. I mean, I'm sorry, banker's hours, banker's hours plus, 24/7 selective. You would think in this field. I mean, I understand that New Hampshire does not allow overtime if it's government funded, but still, things should have been done, because the problem is with the weekend, there's no adults in the room, which means that the story could be revised. And so anyhow, by Monday there was things. I don't know what happened on Monday, but since then they did get the tapes. They looked at the video, they looked at the footage or the film, as the kids would say, and they found out how he got out. And yeah, so we're out. We did a couple things today with him, and we go to a park in ranch, and he's walking really fast, faster than this clinical person's ever seen him. So that kind of was something worth noting, given what happened last week. And so it's kind of sad too because my mother's getting a lot of support, a lot of stuff. And I feel, I'm going to be honest here, I feel a bit jealous because my uncle was in my life, you know, on and off, whether whether he was alcoholic, influenced or not, and um, and this is hurting me in a lot of ways. I can relate to what's going on with him. I know he wasn't a perfect person, but I kind of don't hold a grudge against him right now. And I know some of his brain is stuck in 1980 something, and the delusions. And I mean, it was a very stressful day for my mother and I. It started off in the morning because um, basically when someone has dementia, you lead them on, right? For instance, say that his ex-wife is dead. When somebody's in early stage dementia, the problem is because those people on the first shift only know. They just say bluntly that your wife's dead, your mother's dead. Like they say it without any like empathy, and that sets them off. Because then we it was almost a year ago. It was a year ago, and I think a week from now that my other uncle told my family member about his ex-wife passing away, and it was a disaster. And just having to witness through this, like I'm witnessing through this, and I just I get angry. But again, I'm also feeling a sense of loneliness because I'm at this mental health facility, and and I feel alone. My mother gets a lot of people, a lot of like free therapy. And I'm dealing with my own frustration. I have to keep my conversations very on point, pointy, pithy. My mother could go on for hours. And we drone on the same stuff, and I try to cut a lot of that when I'm there. And that's why I have not gone there that often. Like the other counselor that was there on Friday, I didn't see her since August. And I just, again, I feel like my mother was just feeling, oh, she's young. You don't know how old she is. I'm like, I don't fucking care. Oh, she's 24. Oh, she's inexperienced. The other one that's great was my family member. She's 26, 27. She's a Zoomer. I think she was born 96. I was able to do the math. So 96, okay, 29, still a Zoomer. 24, oh, what's the difference between a 24 and a 27-year-old or whatever? She's gonna be turning 25, I think. It's a lot of young people around here. It's not really any 40. I mean, there might be a few 40 somethings. I can't tell because some of them are a little bit obese, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I don't have a lot of people to talk to. My mother uses everyone as a therapist. She doesn't really know when to. She doesn't have much of a social antenna. Not that you guys needed to know that, but she doesn't know when to let go, and and so she just will drone on and on at nauseum about whatever her injustice or inconvenience is, and um, and I'm just like, what do I get? I always get like nominal or what's the other word? Barter. So everything's transactional for me. oh, well, at least you get, some time, whatever, whatever. It's just like, can I just get validated too? My mother's addicted to validation. She's addicted to it. And it's like, um, you know, I've, where's my support? I'm sorry to sound entitled or bitter or anything like that, but it's like, what do do I get any, support, or am I supposed to just, you know, um, I'm supposed to like, just tag along with my mother. I guess I gotta tag along with her. Um, it's just, it sucks, Um, the level of people not taking responsibility really, really pissed me off, because that was what I was going to say earlier, and I just kind of forgot my train of thought. Let me just get over here. I gotta clean up this space and try to open some space again, because I assembled this during the blackout, actually. Um, so one of the things about following an incident where the manager was like saying it's no one's fault. Wait, it is somebody's fault. And so the counselor was kind of like ends with the manager, and it's like, wait, somebody left the facility. Why, And she did say the we statically, not the I seamers or whatever. She was trying to be constructive, and she was talked down. She was brought, And so this is how people leave these, and this is the largest mental health agency in the state. I'm not. You guys can figure out where I've gave you hints. I'm not gonna say it. I can't say it out loud because then I don't want to jeopardize anything. It's just one of many stories that could happen anywhere in America, literally, or the world for that matter. Um, it's very hard. And with Bobby Kennedy Jr., who's um, trying to make America healthy again. What's your solution, dickhead? Um, I mean, it's not like he's going to improve the quality of people. He just wants to, yes, we could go on big picture and say yes, yes, we're not a healthy country, but you don't have to go and like we need someone with a caring, because that's part of the problem with the healthcare system is um oh God, I can't I just like I'm cringe. And also this agency that my family member is in, this is this agency was like recommended by Teresa Bullock. And I was like, they're trying to get me into anything. So, because I had underlying mental health problems, that it was better, they were going to prefer me there for services. And that's a different world than developmental services. But the problem is, then you run into the situation that you have dueling. They figured out dual diagnoses until like I don't know 5 years ago. Like no shit, Sherlock. It's like you guys like figure this out after the fact. Like it's like in New Hampshire. I think the way that they approach the problems is they have to wait till there's a problem to know there's a problem. Like that's not how you should strengthen numbers. Like it takes like 5 people to have the same experiences to have a problem. Oh God. And this morning I was trying to do the video. If you have not watched my video, I just dropped it. I think at the 6 o'clock hour, I believe is when I dumped it. I uploaded like within, minutes before, because I was just like trying to, I just did multiple takes. I was trying to write the copy, and I fucked up the copy, didn't proofread it. So I did jump cutting and shit like that, just trying to get as much of that out. And the thing was, I knew that's the reason why I didn't get dumped on you was I was out. And so, my mother was chatting up with the clinical lady, and I had to get home. I said, I have to get home to the edit bay for, when I get home. So, gotta get that done. So, I couldn't, my mother wouldn't let me cook my spaghetti. I bought garlic bread, and I was going to make spaghetti. We were going to do that up in Pittsburgh. Well, it just things get put off here, and I get really pissed off when when the can keeps getting kicked down the road. And I on the ride on I said, screw it, I have leftover pizza, and then I apologized for being sarcastic, so I'm like, sorry. Then I was kind of not sorry, because I was kind of pissed off, but then I'm like, I gotta get home. I gotta this edit thing to go up online. I have another edit that I have going up. I'm gonna post on Facebook tonight and post on YouTube tomorrow. It was out in New Hampshire. I had taken I may actually re-record it, because there was something else in the line that, or maybe I'll make a separate video. I could make a separate video, because I could like milk it out with short videos. Maybe that's what I'll do. But yeah, I was rushing to get that out, and so I was a little pissed off, like, oh, it's a long day. Yeah, because you made it kind of a long day. We could have left at 2:30 and had a meeting with the two other ladies and just leave, It's like, no need to keep talking about this. Good God. So it's just like, it's been rough. And right now I don't have any other support people to work with, so and I posted on my personal Facebook, if we want to have a social gathering, like what's the, like, just no one wants to do anything to improve my life. Now the focus is on me. I talked about my family member, my perception, my reality, okay? Now I want to talk a little bit about myself, because this is Autism Awareness Day and the World Autism Awareness Day. And how I just feel freaking invalidated. And I'm not going to talk about Concord politics and, like, inundate you with that shit. But I just don't... There's nothing out there for me, and I get fucking gaslit every fucking time about, well, Steven, the world doesn't revolve around you. No, Steven, sweetie, you need to think for other people. You can't think for other people. Yeah, there's fucking people up at able and age that fucking, will try to speak for me, right? The people in the fucking wheelchairs have more rights than I have. I have to take their responsibility so they can have more freedom. And what? My disability doesn't count? Is the Bureau of Developmental Services going to delete the autism spectrum disorder as a disability that they support at the DHHS? Is that what's going to happen in the next couple of years? 5 years? Don't make me do the WCBSA 80 ad of, we told you so. Because that's where we are right now. Just gotta make sure the door is closed and the voice won't carry up through the staircase. But yeah, I mean, seriously, it's like, it really is. We told you so. Like, decline, death is predictable, right? Death has a predictable physiological thing, right? Death of Democracy has philosophical, not philosophical, well, yeah, it's philosophical in the political sense. And people with freaking disabilities, the decline is, look up Nazi, right? I mean, these things have very, because there's history behind it, and there's a political logic, there's a societal logic to it, right? So, again, why am I looking like I have 5 fucking heads? Where, I'm the crazy one. According to every other fucking person who works, not just the Concord circles, but just in the day-to-day stuff, I look like I have 5 heads. And it's very demoralizing. Why am I the one that looks like the asshole every fucking time? I just want to have a social, like social gatherings, just be around people. Why is that like, I must be crazy that there's nothing there for me? Why is that my responsibility? Oh, if you want it so much, read the fucking manual. Okay, so I read the fucking manual. I still can't get there. What, gaslight me some more, say I'm not doing it exactly the right way? It's like, this is what I put up. This is why I'm so depleted. This is why self-advocacy sucks. Okay, I am fed up being gaslit. Okay, I used to go to the Family Sport Conference. Okay, up north. There are a few, because not everyone knows the system. Not everyone has the luxury to know the ins and outs. Okay, I was one of those families that really didn't have to know to know. And a lot of people are like this. I could not be the only one. My family member cannot be the only one that doesn't know the ins and outs of everything. And I think they keep that. I think they keep it so people aren't going to exploit it. So then that means, because it's less resources for them, right? There were a few times I was up at the conference where I would ask these questions, and I sure as hell was demonized. I'm not lying when I say that. Like, I'm not kidding. Or my idea was too, like, I mentioned, and there was this one thing, I don't know if it, who I have to look, I still have my, because I was on the planning that I probably have the paperwork on it, but we had like this focus group. I don't know which, if it was the council on DD or the DD council. I can't even remember which one it was, which Concord agency it was politically. But we had put these on these large easel boards, like probably it was posted because it was stuck on the wall. And one of the things I said was like, we should have a help desk number for people who need help, right? Where do we go? Where do we navigate? Like 211 is, I don't think, relevant because it's so technical. It goes beyond 211, right? So there has to be like a 7-digit or an 800 number that that somebody can come and help us, right? And I know for sure the at the service coordination level, they don't have all the answers. So they're figuring out, it's almost like everyone's experimenting in real time what you can or cannot do. And this is like 12 years ago. It might have been 2013. 12 years ago, I mentioned the help desk concept. And something, right? And then I had one good case manager, but we kind of grew apart. Because she had like this coachy attitude. What is it you really want? She even had like the eclectic, uppity dialect too. And so what is it that you want? Okay, well, I'm telling you what I want. I'm trying to fucking articulate it at my 29-year-old self, okay? And at some point, this like gets gatekeeped. I think I suspect because it's like you know I don't appreciate looking like I have 5 heads all the time because it's very demoralizing to look like you have 5 heads. And no, I don't feel good at all. I feel like I'm a dummy, hopeless person. Like, well, what's this you're trying to say? And it's like, wait, do you have like a type A problem? Because you're just so antsy, you're just so driven for an answer. I mean, seriously. I mean, I don't mean to say it, but she was kind of a boss bitch too. I called her out in a text message. She never got back to me. The relationship was already fucked. But again, I'm the problem. Her coming off as a boss bitch. She did nothing wrong. She was one of those, like, in her office. I think I have it on this typing. Amanda said something to the fact that, like, well behaved women really make history. That was actually from the signage in my case management's office back in the day, like 10 years ago. Nasty women in this field are not attractive. The nasty women are people like what's happened with my other family member. Nasty women are people running the state's, you know, developmental services. The nasty women, the nasty gals are they're all in these circles. The only way for women to feel empowered is basically act like a man. But I don't like how men act either, right? So we don't have. It's no, I don't care. Like if you're a man or a woman, I don't fucking care what your gender is. You are you're psychotic if you believe that that to be a jackass. Like I don't care. Like I don't think you should be an asshole as your baseline. You shouldn't have to be nasty. You shouldn't have to act like a brat girl summer type of young woman. I mean, these people are. I'm talking about just in the professional sense. These people are very toxic professionally. So if they're acting like that professionally, what are they like when they're not on the clock? They're probably just as bad, if not worse. And so I know too many people that work in this field that are really toxic and are cluster B personality, boss bitch, insecure, whatever. And I don't like this culture. I like, can we have a culture where people are generally nice and are actually empathetic, that are have a certain level of boundaries, but we don't need to go and instill it and drill it down people. I mean, we're not babies. And that's how I feel. That's how I feel. And like I said, just I'm not being seen. I feel like a child. I feel literally like a child. Like I literally feel like a perpetual adolescent that has never developed. It's stunted growth, but apparently somehow it's my fault. It's not the environment around me. And I just feel very alone. And I try to do all these little things to get seen, and then I just like what happened last week. The counselor, was looking at my mother. I'm asking a question. She's just looking at her. I'm like, do I matter? Am I cute? Because she's kind of cute looking. Sometimes when a girl likes you, she tries to avoid eye contact on you. Does she have a little crush on me? I know she's like 13 years apart from me, if I did the right math, but age gap relationships. Been looking that up on YouTube. Not saying that I could date her or anything like that. She's probably taken anyways. Did she have a boyfriend? Did she mention like? I don't know. I feel like I've talked about this recently to her. Oh, maybe the other girl. The other girl's kind of cute too, but I think she's single. Um, but you know, it's lonely. It's like I don't want to go there. Like I didn't go there all weekend. I didn't go there. I didn't go there Monday. I'm just like, why? I'm only going on for very critical things, and today was kind of a good day for me to go, even though I risked half the you know day not getting things done. But then I'll just make it up tomorrow and into Friday. So, but it's this reason why and let me also go back to. Do I really want to keep talking about myself over and over and over? Oh, it's brutal. It's just brutal what I had to witness. So it's been a long, droning couple weeks. It feels like it's been like February. February felt like it was never gonna end. March kind of flew by because there was a lot going on, and what was ironic was just a month ago we had snow on the ground. And then now it's all gone. I think it disappeared when we went up north. I think it's when it all went back. We didn't have a foot of snow this year, but we had like a very wild winter. But it just, my God, it was just a very depressing. I just felt so depressed. And right now I'm starting to feel depressed. Um, so, but it's like I want to get out of this clinical bubble that I'm around. I'm around a lot of people in the clinical world because that's kind of where that's the only, it's there, you know, and so I just want to get out of that. I want to like get out of that world and try to be around other people where they're not like their disability or dysfunctions, is not their entire identity, right? I showed you some of that in the beginning of the video, or the stream, excuse me, as I'm picking up all the cables from all the iPhones I plugged in. I actually did another shoot in the family room where I had another VIA gateway that I was plugging in before I had to surrender phones because it was an eBay. I received it last Wednesday. The item actually sold on Tuesday, but I didn't get notification until Wednesday, so I was in the midst of the thing, and I couldn't get to the post office until Friday, so it went out Friday. Seller wanted it through UPS, but I was thinking I couldn't do it because it was going off to Hawaii, off the mainland, so I couldn't. I wasn't gonna spend that much money at my own expense because the buyer wasn't gonna pay extra, where I would just basically be reimbursed for it or credited invertedly, right? Or whatever the phrase is. So, um, it's just like the state really, like, I need to move out of it. I gotta move out of this state. When I mean I'm moving out of New Hampshire, I'm talking about moving out into the the um the border towns. That's where I want to move to. And I gotta figure out what to do, how to do that. Get a sponsor. Does anyone know anyone that could move out to the coast with? Go into another, because in New Hampshire people are very territorial. Trashua, Manch Vegas, Dirty Dairy, Stay Classy, L Towns. Always, everyone's so guarded with their prejudices. So if I'm moving into another person's territory, I guess I gotta find a sponsor. I have connections. Actually, not to give out too much details. I might have said this in a video. I can't remember. I almost got 400 videos I posted. The head of the Commission of Health and Human Services in New Hampshire. I hadn't been in contact since he retired. So now I just gave you the gender pronouns. So now you can like draw your own conclusions. Because 10 years ago, 9 years ago, he was a really great gentleman. So I emailed him in January, just personal email, because he gave me his personal email before he retired, and I had to go find the email. So it was on one of my Lotus Notes domino instances. I had to go pull the email because I went on my Gmail. I can't even fucking remember what I did with it. And then I have like my own email server. I have my ClickFo and clickfo.net. That's all on the internet. But then I have a local server where I keep all my old emails. The intent was to purge all the stuff that was on the other freebie emails because you don't want to be doxxed or whatever by the big tech, right? And then I never purge everything. Or then my email server shits on me and then I lose the email, right? So it's like in the past, I should just purge it. I had to do a better job at email retention, but whatever. I found the email and I knew that the email address was like, I looked at the email and there was like a W, not an M, but the dude's Greek. So I figured it wasn't valuable because I didn't get a post master. But in between the live stream and this room where I was working on the phone, one of my phones, and I simulcasted the one that I simulcasted. That was late February. He replied to me on February 26th. So we're trying to like touch base. He was busy, which is a good thing as well. I could tell by the email. So I got wording in the reply. The only one though it was like 8 sentences in one graph where I was talking about losing my 2 grandmothers. Everything else was like, in fact, the video that I'm going to work on is, I'm going to quote, like, not quote the email, but take that line, because I was able to encapsulate being forced out of self-advocacy, burned me out. Something to that effect. I was able to say, like, I put it in one sentence. He actually worked for digital equipment back in the day. We had some really cool conversations. I met him in his office once, and then, at the conference, my mother bid on the lunch with the commissioner in the auction, which was really cool. I still like treasure that. So it was at the lunch with the commissioner that we were kind of it was before my time. Digital Equipment Company was the big iron company, behind IBM. But at least DEC did software, where IBM never did any software. So he had an interesting career from our conversations. He worked for the state of New Hampshire long before, and then went to DEC. Then I think we're getting into the late 90s, early 2000s, and oh God, what was it? I can't remember now. Oh, can't remember. It was like right before 9/11. He took a position for it was within DHHS, but it was the agency that does like the kind of like what COVID-19 was in some ways. It was the biological wing of DHHS to deal with that stuff, and they got in that role. Then he was kind of nominated. By the end of the decade, he was nominated. He was like suggested to run for like the commissioner or whatever, and he's very humble. Like he said, "Well, I'm not qualified to like run to become the commissioner, but people within like the agency." And I'm butchering this very personal story that we had at lunch in Concord. Oh, yeah, I don't want to butcher it, but very humble guy. I mean, New Hampshire was really lucky to have him, and unfortunately, he was a man with an open office. Like he wanted the constituency to be at HHS, but that's not the typical New Hampshire bureaucracy. It's the opposite. It's very adversarial. Unfortunately, you can't get an agency of 2,000 people. I think it's like 3,000 people at the time. It's probably got. You can't get a large agency like that to, especially it being underfunded, right? To kind of have the top down effect. Although I think he had really great intentions at the HHS at the time. But that was 9 years ago, people. The seat has changed very dramatically. But he had the people. I mean, he's original. Yeah, he lived in New Hampshire, I think, since he was 5. I think. I'm trying to remember. It's been like 10 years since I last seen the commissioner. So yeah, he was a really great guy. So I'm glad he got back to me. But it was weird. Like I couldn't check the history on my Safari because I crashed the MacBook. The hard drive corrupted it, to be direct. So I couldn't verify. But I think it was like whenever you look at the stream where I was fixing the cordless phone, I checked the Gmail like the day or two or maybe before I hit the stream. So we missed each other. So I got the email like a couple Fridays ago. I got receipt of it, and I replied. I can't even remember if it was that day. I can't remember. Everything's like running together now, so I can't remember which Friday which Friday was which bitch was which. So anyhow. Oh, do you want to see my new MacBook? New to me. I bought this on eBay. It was I don't know why I was looking for a MacBook. I don't know what I did, but I had that extra money, so I splurged on a 2008 model. This was the MacBook, and I did a recording of this, so it's not like I'm doing anything special here. This was the model that was in between the MacBook from the first gen, which was white or black, and then the one before they did that was this the unibody model. This was on the market in late 08. It was discontinued, I think, in the spring of 09. It's not a MacBook Pro. Apple just kind of, I don't know, was testing the waters. So I don't know how many MacBook models these were, but it's gives you the illusion of a MacBook Pro. Completely, you can take out the battery, take out the hard drive really easily. Yep, I don't know why Steve Jobs was so like, I don't know if it was like a self-fulfilled prophecy, right? But the listing had it with Mint Linux. And I'm like, this thing. So what? Because it's an Intel Mac and it's got an EFI bootloader, you can literally boot anything that's x86 on this Mac, or any Mac since early 07 or mid 07, because you also had to deal with the factor that this takes forever to boot up. That prompt, that's when it's switching to BIOS. So maybe this is not an EFI boot. I forget. But this is going to take forever to boot up. I mean, it also has a lit up keyboard, but because there's no driver for it in Linux, it's not going to work. So it is pretty much in decent condition. So, The reason why I bought it was A, because of this MacBook. B, I'm going to take this out. I'm wondering how I'm going to get this to my mother's attention. The other MacBook that's in my bag, that with the corrupted hard drive, I'm going to use this as a desktop. I need a desktop for down here when I'm managing the infrastructure remotely. I do have that ThinkPad as well, but you know, it's better to run on a Mac. I can run a lot of my networking equipment on my Mac. I do not need to use Windows anymore for the most part for even my Cisco infrastructure. So that's kind of what I'm doing here. But but this is really cool. It does expand to 8 GB of RAM. It came with, I think, 2 or 4, but with the various updates to macOS 10, you can go up to 8. That's due to firmware updates and newer versions of the Mac and all that. But again, I think my MacBook, I think, had, was it 1 gig? Yeah, it had to be a gig, 2 512s. And I think I upgraded it to 2, to get it to 4, I think. Or is it 2? I don't remember. It's crazy to think the computers in the odds were at under 2 gigs. But, or 4 gigs for that matter. And this thing takes forever to boot. And this has an SSD in here. And that was the other thing I wanted to do, is practice using a smaller storage. In an event, if I do get a new MacBook for my editing, to retire the Mac Mini upstairs. So it's kind of like a dual fold thing. Whether or not I get a MacBook or a Mac Mini is to be determined. In which model am I going to get? I'm probably going to get a refurbished one, but I don't know if I should get an M2 or an M3. M4 is just came out like last year, so I'm like, and I also want to practice on this thing I'm streaming on the iPad. What's this Lint? Oh, that's weird. Lint. Was it Linux Mint? I don't even know what the fuck this thing is called. Yeah, this thing's, I'm probably going to wipe out the drive and put it in macOS 10 on here. I don't know how much effort it took to install Linux Mint on this machine, but it's pretty crappy. I mean, it's like, you wonder why open source sucks. Like, can you make these things, like, user-friendly? Make it, how the hell do I say this? Just make it, relatable, because people want to have, they want to have an interface that not just to surf the web, not do casual computing. Because if you want to replace Windows as a desktop, you need to make these things, and it does make noise. With this weird abstract. It's got like the Windows, 1 hour, 31 minutes. Oh, really? I think the battery's good, but see, your web browser, Firefox, who's using Firefox now? It's got sold out. Files, which of course it kind of rips off the Mac, and Windows. This one may be more of a rip-off of Explorer. My favorite GUI environment is KDE, because if you're going to use a workstation, you make it like workstation. I don't know what this GUI GUI is. But basically, if you guys are not familiar with Linux by default is like a DOS, for instance, where it's just literally a command prompt, and then there's graphical environments that basically acts as a full-blown program. That's what Windows used to be before Windows XP on the consumer level. It was a graphical facade over DOS. These in Linux, there's multiple instances, and again, like my problem is like if you run one distro Linux, it's one thing, and then another instance, like there is kind of like an app store here. Oh yeah, LibreOffice. Yeah, that's lost their credibility. I would bet this is no different than Star Office or the original OpenOffice.org. I don't think they really improved it. And again, it's like, yeah, see, oh yeah, these icons are really crap. You're running version 24.2 of LibreOffice for source. Oh, I thought it was an update. Oh, there is some improvements. There's kind of like an inspector. Oh, there's a sidebar. Oh, I know they were trying to rip off but yeah, I mean, a lot of this is really much the same. But there's no like email messaging. There's no Outlook, like old school Outlook. Because now we're gonna have to get to the point where it's not about an email client, because Microsoft is really killing Outlook through deprecation, desperation of deprecation, of course. Thunderbird, like no one, like I bet you people are running to the hills now with what the news is. So then, what's that? Online chat Matrix. Matrix is a real-time internet chat. It's primarily used by Linux Mint users to learn. Oh, it's like a peer-to-peer help. Wonder if I hit the command key. Oh, so it doesn't act like a Windows key. Drawing. Simple drawing utility. I mean, what is that? Like, that's the part. You need to, like, explain these things to people. It's the first time you're using drawing. Why, are you, like, Clippy? Do you like help? And, okay, so who's published this program? Simple image. I mean, really, that's like the dictionary definition. So these people really don't know how to market themselves. And I know marketing sounds very philosophical, sounds too liberal, blah, 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 blah. But it's like you need to get people into it. And the only way you can get people into it is so multimedia. What? Ugh. Printers. And you kind of wonder too, like, I was going to do like a video at some point, like, yeah, wire connection, last use, never. Otto, get the fuck out of here. That was where it came from, I think, the seller 13 days ago. That was because I got this on Saturday. Supposed to come Friday, so yeah, it must came up. It was from an eBay seller. Mouse and trackpad. Does it tell me what like driver it is? So it doesn't even tell me what driver I have to do like hardware specific stuff. This is crazy. Places, recent files, profs, preferences. But I'm just like, is that the control panel? System settings. Yeah, this doesn't really turn me on. This really doesn't turn me on. Oh, that's why the Wi-Fi. Let me turn off the Wi-Fi. Save some battery. Power management. One hour 30. This is like just as bad as Windows, if not worse. So I'm probably gonna like replace this with. Here's the system info. Yeah, this is what was on the eBay listing. Generic. Oh, that's the Linux kernel. Cinnamon. What is Cinnamon the graphical environment? I wonder if that is. Ooh, the GeForce 9. Well, it's not the most latest greatest, but still, that's a pretty fancy for its time. Hard drive. Yeah, the hard drive is very small because it's an SSD. Memory at 3.6 gigs, so that's 4 gigs. It can go up to 8. X11 is the graphical environment. Yeah, that's. Yeah, that's. Yeah, I'm really bored already with Linux. No, I want to try Rocky Linux, or the one that was what the fuck was it called? Fedora. But you can't use Fedora anymore. What happens if I? Oh yeah, it does work. That's kind of Mac OS when you hit the shutdown. Yeah, but it's like, yeah, I'm gonna probably get Mac OS 10 on here. I just gotta get the thing, the operating. I gotta get the thumb drive to work. So to install from thumb drive, because particularly, I could, because the CD-ROM does work, or the DVD drive. I could like install Mac OS. I could do that because I'm gonna work on like imaging, which I was gonna do last month, but I gotta get this stuff cleared out to move this over here. So on the side here, there's the battery status. See how cute that is? Look how cute that is. Try that again. Aw. You got your Kensington lock. The 2 audio, that's the headphone. That might be headset, I can't see from here. The audio, the line in. The display port. The 2 USB 2.0s. The gigabit LAN, which I'm going to use for the most part, and then the power. Now, I don't know if these 2 USB ports can have the theoretically. I would assume with the Mac OS it could, but I've been able to run devices that were intended for USB 3 to work on here. Not every USB port can be backwards compatible because some of it will just completely deny it. But you can do that. And the back here is all solid. There's no vent. I think the vent goes through the sides or something like that. But yeah, I found it on eBay for, reasonable amount of price. So I'm like, wanting, and it's kind of like my dream MacBook. I'm not gonna be up on it. I'm not even gonna put stickers on it, but I'm just gonna be careful with the thing. And then when I get the new MacBook, I will retire that one as well. But you never have enough Macs. I'm not gonna lie. I probably have 3 vintage Macs. I should count them all. But yeah. Yeah, so I'll probably do some more Mac streams at some point. So yeah. I need to find time to find out my loneliness because I'm like, I can't be alone like this for long or I'm gonna lose my shit. And I don't know what else to say. It's almost 8 o'clock, and I need to finish working down here to I gotta, like I said, I gotta move this. I'm gonna try to move this tomorrow. So I gotta vacuum down there. I gotta move some stuff over there, and pick things up, vacuum. There's crap all over the place. So get that in. 'Cause I want my mother to do laundry. I'm due for laundry. So yeah. All right. No one in the chat. It's a Wednesday night. Everyone must be having some fun. All right. I might stream tomorrow. Maybe Friday. Maybe Saturday. Don't quote me. But I want to do my weekly streams on both channels, and I'll let you know. I'll give you guys a 48-hour notice, which would make it to like Friday or Saturday that if I'm gonna live by my promise. But just if you hit the bell if you're not following me, hit the bell. You'll know when I go live. So that's how I'll go. Cause yeah, I need I'm gonna have a busy weekend. I need to move out my desk. Remember that I would normally record from like my desk. Well, that IKEA thing broke, so I need to get a new That's a whole story in itself. So it's and then I have a home visit next Thursday with my agency. Yeah, for safety reasons. I gotta get that all situated. So I gotta, it's not that much work. I gotta just keep on with my routine and not be disrupted. And so I might, maybe next week, God willing. And yeah, so all right.